And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy.
I don't want you to protest, I don't want you to riot, I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value.
We're not just going to let you walk out of here.
Take a giant step for mankind.
Get together, have a few laughs.
Welcome to the Iowa Talk Guys podcast. I'm your host, TP.
I'm E-Rock.
And I'm Mel.
And today, whatever time it is you're listening, we're going to bring you, I guess, just a little bit of an update, some stuff we've been seeing on the scuttlebutt, on the old interwebs, and, stuff happening in the world. And, yeah, kind of whatever. I don't even know what to think at this point. I'm just waiting for Jesus to return and just burn this entire place up.
And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
I'm over it, man. Just over it.
The red heifer sacrifice?
Not yet. We can talk about that at the end of the show, about the red heifers, but they're supposed to be getting sacrificed sometime in April 2025. But anyways, starting off, journalists accidentally put in DOD group text chat on Houthi bombings in Yemen by Chris Brown, Monday, March 24th, 2025. This is a Yahoo News, but it says UPI at the top. I don't even know what's UPI stand for. I know what a UTI is. United Press International. So, a journalist was inadvertently put in a Signal group chat in which top Trump administration officials went over details of U.S. attacks in Yemen against Houthi rebels. It was confirmed Monday, March 24th. It was reported that Jeffrey Goldberg, editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, had been included in a group chat on the texting platform Signal, in which top Trump administration officials went over the details of pending attacks against Houthi rebels in Yemen hours before it took place. Goldberg wrote that the initial group invite on March 11th came from National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, in a chat also including U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard. The A-team y'all voted in. The whole reason Trump got elected was because of that team, right?
Guess Hegseth needs a breathalyzer on his cell phone.
Oh yeah, is he drunk?
Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
No, what happened?
You didn't hear his swearing in and the arguments of him being a drunk?
I'll play the clip, but no, I guess I didn't pay that much attention to it. That was when he got sworn in.
No, that was an argument on the left that you had admitted to being a drunk.
Oh, okay.
So apparently you can't hold office or any position if you're an alcoholic.
Well, I mean, there's functioning alcoholics in this world, and I mean, but in all honesty, aren't they? They're supposed to be politicians, aren't we supposed to hold them to a higher standard?
Yeah, he was accused of alcohol abuse and misconduct.
Did he
Grab him by the pussy?
when he was drunk?
His drinking worried colleagues at Fox News. Sources tell NBC.
That's interesting.
They don't care about his tattoos anymore.
Yeah, they are finding other ways to try to destroy him because they realize we're not going to be able to destroy his character against a bunch of other racists.
Well, he said he'd stop drinking if he was confirmed Secretary of Defense.
Well, hopefully he did.
Says it's true.
Well, hopefully he did. I don't know, man. Everybody should stop drinking, dude. It's bad for you.
NBC News, December 4th, 2024. Tonight, President-elect Trump's pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth facing growing skepticism of his chances for confirmation amid damaging news reports.
Do you need to address the questions about your character that have been raised in some of these reports?
And now, 10 current and former Fox News employees who worked with Hegseth, who hosted one of the network's morning shows, telling NBC News that he drank in ways that concern them. 2 saying that on more than a dozen occasions they smelled alcohol on him before he went on air. Quote, everyone would be talking about it behind the scenes, one of the former Fox News employees said. He should not be Secretary of Defense, another former Fox News employee said. His drinking should be disqualifying. A Trump transition spokesperson calling the allegations disgusting, completely unfounded, and false. An attorney for Hegseth referring us to the transition statement. Fox News did not respond.
Mr. Hegseth, so many of these stories about you have involved alcohol. Do you have a drinking problem, sir?
Now NBC News has learned as many as 6 GOP senators are not comfortable supporting Hegseth's nomination, according to multiple Republicans with direct knowledge of the nomination process. Hegseth can only afford to lose the support of 3 Republicans if all Democrats vote no. But no Republican senator has publicly said they will oppose Hegseth, who's also a decorated combat veteran.
ABC News, December 4, 2024.
Today, President-elect Trump's cabinet picks on Capitol Hill, making their pitch to senators on why they should be confirmed.
I will do my best every day to work tirelessly for the American people.
Attorney General nominee Pam Bondi meeting with senators yesterday. She replaced Trump's first choice, Matt Gaetz, after he withdrew his nomination.
She's a great choice, been a longtime friend.
It comes as Trump's nominee for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is facing accusations of financial mismanagement and sexual misconduct, allegations he denies. According to the New Yorker magazine, Hegseth was forced to step down from leading 2 conservative veterans groups, in part because of accusations of mismanaging funds and abusing alcohol while on the job. He's accused of using the organization's funds to party, sexually pursue female staffers, and repeatedly being so drunk in public, employees had to care for him, including once when he tried joining dancers on the stage of a Louisiana strip club where he had brought his team. That's according to a whistleblower report obtained by the magazine. ABC News has not independently confirmed the reporting. Hegseth's lawyer telling ABC News they would not comment on outlandish claims by a petty and jealous disgruntled former associate. Reporters cut off yesterday when asking Hegseth about the allegations.
So that article suggests you have an alcohol problem.
Okay, thank you guys.
All right, thanks, guys.
The New York Times has obtained an email written in 2018 by Hegseth's mother where she accused him of being an abuser of women, accusing him of using women for his own power and ego. The Times reports his mother immediately sent a follow-up email apologizing. Perry Russom, ABC News, Washington.
This is a clip of Senator Tim Kaine, as he questions Pete Hegseth on cheating and drinking on the job allegations, at Hegseth's confirmation hearing on January 14, 2025.
Were you fired from either of the leadership positions with the nonprofits?
I was the leader. I was the CEO of Concerned Veterans for America and the executive director of Vets for Freedom.
Were you fired from either
and I was
of them?
never fired from a veterans organization.
Do you have non-disclosure agreements with either of those organizations?
Not that I'm aware of, Senator.
Many of your work colleagues have said that you show up for work under the influence of alcohol or drunk. I know you've denied that, but you would agree with me, right, that if that was the case, that would be disqualifying for somebody to be Secretary of Defense.
Senator, those are all anonymous false claims, and the totality
they're not anonymous.
The letters on the record here.
They're not anonymous.
On the record, people
we've seen records with names
Vets
attached
for Freedom,
to them.
Concerned Vets for America, and Fox News
one of your colleagues
working
said,
hard every day on behalf of
one of your
mission.
colleagues said that you got drunk at an event at a bar and chanted, "Kill all Muslims." Another colleague, not anonymous, we have this, said that you took co-workers to a strip club. You were drunk, you tried to dance with strippers, you had to be held off the stage, and one of your employees in that event filed a sexual harassment charge as a result of it. Now, I know you denied these things, but isn't that the kind of behavior that, if true, would be disqualifying for somebody to be Secretary of Defense?
Senator, anonymous false charges.
They're not anonymous. And I'll just conclude and say this to the chairman. You claim that this was all anonymous. We have seen records with names attached to all of these, including the name of your own mother. So don't make this into some anonymous press thing. We have seen multiple names of colleagues consistently throughout your career that have talked about your abusive actions,
Chairman,
attitudes,
I think he's
words,
over
and
his time. He's way over his time.
I now yield.
At the same hearing, Senator Markwayne Mullen comes to Hegseth's aid, and calls out the chairman and the entire United States Senate.
The senator from Virginia starts bringing up the fact that what if you showed up drunk to your job? How many senators have showed up drunk to vote at night? Have any of you guys asked them to step down and resign from their job? And don't tell me you haven't seen it, because I know you have. And then how many senators do you know have got a divorce before cheating on their wives? Did you ask them to step down? No. But it's for show. You guys make sure you make a big show and point out the hypocrisy because a man's made a mistake. And you want to sit there and say that he's not qualified? Give me a joke.
But anyway, apparently this Goldberg had reportedly said that Hegseth sent him specific details to the group chat that outlined weaponry, targets, and timing of the attack 2 hours ahead on March 15th. Confirmed now, I guess. So Goldberg had initial doubts of its authenticity, quote, because I cannot believe that the national security leadership of the United States would communicate on Signal about imminent war plans, unquote. Yeah, that's like a freaking Biden administration move right there, if I ever seen it. Good job, dummies.
Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys.
Yeah, he's got a good point. Like, I probably would have been like, this has to be Chinese. Yeah, I probably would have blocked it right away. That's a good thing for us. Goldberg didn't. But no person in the chat apparently knew a reporter was attached and watching, which is, once again, you think they would have had a little better of a vetting process if this was, happened. And Goldberg said that he, quote, could not believe that the national security advisor to the president would be so reckless as to include him in the discussion with senior U.S. officials, unquote. Valid points. Can't argue with the man there. The National Security Council, meanwhile, confirmed its authenticity. Quote, this appears to be an authentic message chain, and we are reviewing how an inadvertent number was added to the chain, stated NCS spokesman Brian Hughes. Quote, the thread is a demonstration of the deep and thoughtful policy coordinated between senior officials. The ongoing success of the Houthi operation demonstrates that there was no threats to troops or national security, unquote. And the chat highlighted apparent disagreements over foreign policy between Trump and Vance. Well, why don't we read some of these that old Goldberg himself decided to be very helpful and share, huh?
Hey, just a little background on Goldberg. According to Wikipedia, he's Jewish.
What? No way.
He also served in the Israeli Defense Forces. After college, he moved to Israel, the first Intifada, as a prison guard. The more you know. All right, yeah, let's hear these text messages.
Okay. This is a message from J.D. Vance at Pete Hegseth. If you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again. Let's just make sure our messaging is tight here. And if there are things we can do up front to minimize risk to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it. You got to make the Saudis happy. You got to make sure they're not pissed at us, right? Hegseth replied, VP, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic in capital letters to let you know how disgusted he is. But Mike is correct. We are the only ones on the planet on our side of the ledger who can do this. Nobody else even close. Question is timing. I feel like now is as a good a time as any, given POTUS directive to reopen shipping lanes. I think we should go, but POTUS still retains 24 hours of decision space. SM. Who is SM?
SM was believed by Goldberg to be Stephen Miller, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, and one of Trump's most trusted aides.
SM replies, as I heard it, the president was clear, green light, but we soon make clear to Egypt and Europe what we expect in return. We also need to figure out how to enforce such a requirement. E.g., if Europe doesn't remunerate, then what? If the U.S. successfully restores freedom of navigation at great cost, there needs to be some further economic gain extracted in return. Hegseth agreed with SM there. So those are just a few of them that Goldberg had shared with the media. And then Pete Hegseth replied on CNN, they caught him on a tarmac somewhere, asking if this was real, and he of course denies it. We'll go ahead. We'll play the clip.
One question.
Can you share how your information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in The Atlantic? And were those details classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this is a guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does. I would love to comment on the Houthi campaign because of the skill and courage of our troops. I've monitored it very closely from the beginning. And you see, we've been managing 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Trump administration. Our troops, our sailors were getting shot at as targets. Our ships couldn't sail through. And when they did shoot back, it was purely defensively or at shacks in Yemen. President Trump said, no more. We will reestablish deterrence. We will open freedom of navigation, and we will ultimately decimate the Houthis, which is exactly what we're doing as we speak from the beginning, overwhelmingly.
Why were those details?
Well, there you have it from the horse's mouth. Nobody was doing it. Just the figment of the imagination of a delusional reporter.
AI generated, dude.
Goldberg was mistakenly added to the Signal group chat by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. CNN, March 26, 2025.
I'm sure everybody out there has had a contact where it was said one person and then a different phone number.
But you've never talked to him before, so how's the number on your phone?
National Security Advisor Mike Waltz appeared on Fox News in an attempt to explain how he inadvertently included the Atlantic editor Jeffrey Goldberg to a Signal group chat discussing U.S. war plans.
I mean, I'm not an expert in any of this, but it's just curious. How's the number on your phone?
Well, if you have somebody else's contact and then somehow it gets
someone
sucked
sent
in,
you that
it gets
contact.
sucked in.
Was there someone else supposed to be on the chat that wasn't on the chat that you thought was
so
on the
the
chat?
person that I thought was on there was never on there. It was this
Who
guy.
was that? What person?
Well, I'm not. Look, okay. Laura, I take responsibility. I built the group.
Despite saying he takes, quote, full responsibility, Waltz continued to disparage the Atlantic and Goldberg's journalistic integrity.
You know, Laura, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but of all the people out there, somehow this guy who has lied about the president, gone to just all kinds of lengths to lie and smear the president of the United States, and he's the one that somehow gets on somebody's contact and then gets sucked into this group.
Goldberg appeared on MSNBC to respond to Waltz's claims.
The simple truth of the matter is, on March 11th, Mike Waltz sent me a message request on Signal, and I accepted it. That's the entire story.
The Atlantic has published what it described as additional messages from the group chat, saying, quote, people should see the text in order to reach their own conclusions.
Waltz claims that he had never met or spoken with Goldberg before he inadvertently adding the journalist to the group. Since Waltz made the claim that he had never met Goldberg, a picture has emerged of the two men standing side by side at an event in 2021.
Well, he says Goldberg has a history of being dishonest and being liars. But who else has a history of being dishonest and liars, not being fully truthful and spreading misinformation? The government themselves. US government. So, I don't know. You know, DOGE is going through. They're finding all these liars. You know, this wasteful spending going through and stuff. If you don't know by now, I mean, I don't know where you've been at. But DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, was created by Trump, and they've been going through a whole bunch of departments, downsizing them in the government, finding wasteful spending, and then was it in February they came out and said that they were going to give some of this wasteful government spending back to the citizens in a stimulus check? You guys remember that?
Did he actually say that, or did
Trump said he would consider?
Yeah,
I believe
he throws out a lot of shit.
Well, hold on. All right, now we got to find it.
According to USA Today, President Trump said he would consider to pay a $5,000 stimulus check to taxpayers in the form of a DOGE dividend. Explained it would be 20% of the savings identified.
I don't think Elon gave an actual price I think he gave a price on how much government wasteful spending was happening, but I don't believe that he gave a price on what the stimulus check, the return check, would be to the citizens.
Well, there was a Newsweek article I saw where it says James Fishback, CEO of the Azori investment firm, acknowledged that $5,000 payment figure is not guaranteed and could fluctuate depending on actual government savings. Then they go to say, we think DOGE can save $2 trillion over the next couple of years. If you take 20% of that, the DOGE dividends it sends back to the taxpayers, 20% of $2 trillion is $400 billion. And there are roughly 80 million tax-paying households in America. So if you go 400 billion divided by 80 million, you end up with a check of roughly 5,000. That's what we think we can do. However, he emphasized that the payout could vary. The plan is not predestined to 5,000. If the savings come in or below, that check could go to 5,000 to 2,500. If the savings are only 500 billion, we'd only get 1,250. If the incentives, blah, blah, blah. Under the proposal, 20%. With the current savings of $150 billion, each taxpayer would receive approximately $142 if payments were issued today. I guess I should have said how that James Fishback is the creator of the DOGE dividend. The mastermind behind the proposal is James Fishback, CEO of the Azori. So then Newsweek fact checks it, and they think that it would only be $142.
Yeah, USA Today, they ran an article March 21st, 2024 by Maria Francis. What is DOGE dividend check? Who qualifies for $5,000 stimulus check? Here's what to know. Still waiting on the $5,000 dividend check from DOGE, or will it be less? Here's the update on what to know about the status of the stimulus and whether you make enough income to qualify to receive it. Will it be a check per individual or per household? Here's what it all means and eligibility. President Donald Trump said that he would consider the plan to pay out $5,000 stimulus checks to taxpayers in the form of DOGE dividends last month, which was in February, yeah. He explained it as a part to take 20% of the savings identified by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, and give it back to the American taxpayers. This DOGE dividend idea was originally floated by Azoria investment firm's CEO James Fishback on Musk's social media platform X, suggesting Trump and Musk, quote, should announce a DOGE dividend, a tax refund check sent to every taxpayer, funded exclusively with a portion of the total savings delivered by DOGE, unquote. Yeah, just exactly what E-Rock had said, to which Musk replied, we'll check with the president. But in a recent interview with News Nation, Fishback said he was optimistic a bill is forthcoming to put President Trump's vision of DOGE coming full circle into law, adding, quote, it isn't just enough to identify waste, fraud, and abuse. We have to refund the taxpayer their hard-earned money when their money was wasted and misused, and that's what the DOGE dividend calls for, unquote. But, like you just said, it may not be anywhere near 5,000 or what people are thinking, right? And
I don't understand why why were they even giving anything away?
Right, I don't think they would do that either.
But I hope Big Balls is keeping tabs on all these haters that are talking shit. You only get a dividend check if you voted for Trump.
Yeah, okay. Well, apparently, if this even happens, it's going to be a wait. And so don't start planning on redoing your kitchen or bath or anything, you know. And remember, I mean, back in 2021, they paid out those stimulus checks at like 3 rounds of like $1,400. So it may not be like, if they do decide to do $5,000 per family, then it may be payouts.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't get a $5,000 check.
And then they would just do the same thing that they did with your taxes.
And then put a 40% tax on it.
Yeah,
well, taxes on this dividend check.
No, they took it out of your taxes. If you got the stimulus check, yeah, they made sure to get some of that money back, dude.
U.S. debt meter. What are you up to today?
Huh?
The national debt clock. 36 trillion.
Pocket change, bro. Pocket change.
And it's still rising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes up like every minute, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking at this usdebtclock.org. 36.6 trillion. And the debt per taxpayer is 323,000. They actually have a DOGE clock on here.
Really?
Which is only at 238 billion, saving per taxpayer, $2,127. Yeah, www.usdebtclock.org.
Nice. Well, you know what might help with that? If people burn more Teslas,
yeah,
that might help the debt go down. Or, Tesla will just continue to get government subsidies and stuff for all the damage that happens to their property and everything. People have insurance on their vehicles, so there's been an increased number of incidences involving vandalism targeting Tesla property, including vehicles, dealerships, and charging stations. And the incidences have been part of a larger wave of protests against Elon Musk, the man himself, owner of Tesla and key figure of the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. So this even has its own Wikipedia page now. It says here that while the majority of incidences have occurred in the United States, vandalism has been reported in Canada, France, and the United Kingdom. The FBI, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the ATF, said that they could not find any evidence that incidences were coordinated. Just random people doing random crazy shit.
Well, they look like the usual suspects. You saw their mugshots.
What do you mean?
Google the mugshots. There's one guy crying, another one was a transgender woman, another hippie looking.
Apparently, according to an ABC News article, so Trump called the incidences acts of terrorism and suggested that the perpetrators be sent to prison in El Salvador. That'll teach them.
If we had the option to get them out and let them be based in some other country at a fraction of the cost, and frankly, they could keep them because these people are never going to be any good.
But January 6th.
Why would we send them to El Salvador?
So it's a rough prison. They don't have any rights in El Salvador. It'd be rough for them. But apparently, up in Canada on March 20th, 80 Teslas were damaged at a dealership in Hamilton, Ontario, with cars having deep scratches and tires punctured. Insurance write-off. Tesla Model S was set on fire March 17th up in London, Ontario. In France, around a dozen Teslas were set on fire outside of a dealership in Toulouse. I don't speak French. On February 23rd, 8 cars were destroyed and another 4 were damaged. New Zealand, several cars were spray painted in Auckland. And in the United Kingdom, members of the Just Stop Oil poured an orange liquid latex over a Tesla robot at a store in London.
Hell yeah.
Just Stop Oil.
You ever had like a key? You ever had your car keyed or like a minor crime happened to you that you reported and you were just like, oh, the cop, this is nothing. The cops aren't going to do anything about it.
Well, did you see the one where the guy fucking wiped his ass?
Yeah.
Well, the reason I say that is because there's been so many videos posted online of people keying Teslas, and then you start looking into them, and all these people are getting busted the next day. They're getting arrested for keying a car, and it's when I was growing up, fucking keying a car, they're just yeah, you got your car keyed, tough shit.
Yeah, that'll buff out.
Yeah, but now it's oh man, you got your Tesla keyed. I better go arrest this dude.
Well, if they're being deemed as acts of terrorism, I mean, which is
right. Well,
crazy.
I mean, shit, that's kind of crazy if you really think about someone just keys a Tesla and then now you're a terrorist.
Yeah.
I could see burning an entire fucking Tesla dealership to the ground being an act of terrorism, but not someone in a parking lot in fucking middle of nowhere keying a car and then you're like, oh, you're a terrorist.
Right, yeah.
How much?
Not saying you should do that, but this is the government that V for Vendetta warned us about, right?
What's the pollution on the Teslas burning up?
With the fucking lithium batteries?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You can look into it.
And you're saying, 10 years ago, yeah, Elon was a savior with the electric
Not even
car
10
market.
years ago. I mean, less than 2 years ago, he was a savior.
Well, I think it all changed when he bought Twitter out. When they started turning their backs on him.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've seen numerous videos of celebrities where they're like, I bought this Tesla to save the world, but fuck Elon, and I'm getting a gas guzzler now.
I've been seeing people doing that. It's why? How the tables have turned. And then I've been seeing a bunch of Republicans apparently now are buying Cybertrucks and stupid stuff.
Tim Waltz was talking shit about the Tesla stock, and now it's going up.
I know some of you know this on the iPhone. They've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So.
I mean, you had Tim Waltz, who's a huge jerk, running around on stage with a Tesla stock price, where the stock price had gone in half. And he was overjoyed. What an evil thing to do. What a creep. What a jerk. Like, who derives joy from that? And it was pointed out to him that actually, Minnesota State Pension Fund is a major investor in Tesla. But he didn't care. He was so overjoyed by Tesla stock going in half. So does that sound like a good person to you?
Yeah, dude, I don't know, but there's been attacks all over the United States, like just not too far from us, down in Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri. There was a Tesla Cybertrucks were set on fire at a dealership. Apparently, they're believing it was arson. And there was attacks in Kansas, Illinois, Massachusetts,
Las Vegas,
New York, Vegas, Maryland, North Carolina, Oklahoma, South Carolina, California, Colorado, Oregon, Washington. Apparently in Portland, somebody spray painted the word Nazi on a Tesla.
Sounds like a Nazi thing to do.
4 Cybertrucks were damaged by fire in Seattle. Yeah, right.
Well, you saying that that somebody spray painted Nazi on a Cybertruck just made me think of that Joe Rogan and Elon Musk interview where he was like,
what is it like to buy a company for $44 billion and then people call you a Nazi on that same thing that you bought?
I did not see it coming.
Nice. But yeah, it's really interesting to see how, supposedly this is the party of tolerance and peace and love and happiness are committing all these violent acts. I mean, unless
they're only tolerant as long as you agree with them.
Right.
And then the second you don't, they're not tolerant about you anymore because you are intolerant.
Just like the Manson family. Yeah. It was only cool to be a part of it if you listened to Charlie. If you didn't, you got your face cut off or whatever.
I'm telling you. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. You do exactly what I say.
Did you guys see the meme where it's like 2023, look at them overreact and refuse to buy Bud Light? Now, I'm burning every Tesla to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then people are like, well, fucking Kid Rock, he was shooting at those Bud Lights. And like, no, that's just as stupid that he had already purchased the Bud Light and then shot it up.
Well, and then he turned around.
That's stupid
like
too.
He went to a liquor store and just opened fire on a fucking cold case with full of Bud Light. And was like, fuck Bud Light.
Be a lot cooler if he did.
Well, we here at Iowa Talk Guys thought Teslas and Bud Light were gay before they became cool.
It's true. We didn't like them beforehand, and we still don't like it. So there you go. This doesn't change our opinion one bit. We still don't like your truck.
I don't know what
it's
model
stupid,
Tesla it is.
and your beer still sucks and tastes like crap.
But there's only one cool model of the Tesla, and it's the one where the back chairs like turn, and then then you can like walk out of the car, and then the door that has gull wing doors on the back. That's cool. I like that one.
That's
all
going
the
to
rest
be
of them suck though.
Every car in the future when we're old, dude. As long as the world doesn't get nuked.
That's cool. I like gull wing doors.
Right.
I think they look cool.
It's going to be the future of all cars, dude. But apparently now they're running these. CNN Business ran an article saying that from March 24th, Tesla insurance has always been pricey. Will vandalism make it higher? Most likely. What insurance companies do, say a bunch of people on your insurance provider get into an accident because stuff happens. They don't know how to drive, or other people don't know how to drive, hit them. They're going to try to raise your insurance rate. I mean, I've been with a company before where we've gotten a phone call and they're like, oh, yeah, we're raising your insurance rate because we've had a bunch of claims and stuff this year. It's like, okay, so I'm getting punished for other people's mistakes. Your CEO needs to get another $6 million bonus this year, so it can't come out of your guys' check, right?
Nope.
So you can go through and read this article and it talks about the vandalism damage costing, if your Tesla gets damaged, dude, it's costing you thousands of dollars in repairs automatically. And for insurance rates, so according to bank rate data from this month, the average premium for full coverage of a Tesla Model 3 sedan is $3,495 per year. A premium for a Tesla Model Y SUV is $3,771 a year, and the full-size Model X SUV is $5,459 a year. Jeez. The electric Ford F-150 Lightning pickup truck in the comparison costs an average of $2,942 to similarly insure, which is slightly higher than the national average of $2,678 for all cars. So yeah, their insurance premiums are probably going to go up. Geez, that's ridiculous to insure. It's probably because of that lithium battery so freaking dangerous.
Did you hear there's a website where they list Tesla owners?
I heard that, yeah.
And it has it changes your mouse into a Molotov cocktail.
What?
Like your mouse icon, the pointer.
So then you can go vandalize them if you want.
But you can vandalize them from the safety of your own home. So it's not like they're not like telling people to go out and vandalize stuff, but they kind of are.
Just
So
wait
they're,
for
giving all
GTA
these people's
6.
Information.
You'll be able to vandalize so many Teslas and lookalikes in that game. It's not even going to be funny.
Sounds like some Nazi shit.
Wow. Insurance companies are a bunch of freaking pieces of trash, man. So.
But nobody cared about Elon saving those astronauts. Didn't see a lot of praise about that with his SpaceX Dragon rescue mission.
Yeah, the ones that they went up for how many days were they supposed to be up there?
It wasn't a lot. I want to say 20. I want to say less than 21 days. How NASA's Starliner mission went from 10 days to 9 months, a timeline.
Okay. So when did it start? The beginning of the timeline?
June 5th, 2024. Starliner takes to the skies. Starliner lifted off June 5th atop a United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida on his debut crewed mission with the ISS as the destination. Wilmore and Williams, both former U.S. Navy test pilots, expected to remain in orbit for about 10 days on this mission, which was called Crew Flight Test CFT. The main goal was to show the Starliner is ready to carry astronauts to and from the ISS, so the spacecraft can start flying operational long-duration missions in the near future.
Okay. So,
and then
they were supposed to be there for 10 days, and it turned into 9 months. And good thing they had enough room to store Christmas decorations in the ISS with Christmas hats that they had all for themselves. I mean, was there a crew up there already? But then I like how when she comes back from being in space for 9 months or whatever, you see the pictures of her hair changed. Her hair is dyed. It looks like her skin's a lot tanner. Going through on the way down from the capsule or whatever, she must have... They must have had a tanning bed there for her.
It says here on September 7th, Starliner returns to Earth without a crew. Nearly 3 months later than originally expected, Starliner came home. It touched down in New Mexico at 12:01 a.m. on September 7th without anyone aboard. Desert landing went off without a hitch. So why didn't they ride it home then?
They missed their flight. They didn't get there in time. They were battling aliens that had attacked the ISS.
I guess.
They had to save the planet. That's really what it is. They're going to tell us, dude.
Maybe they're too busy fucking.
Could be.
Although,
maybe.
I don't know. I don't think I'd fuck that lady.
Maybe they're like the doctors at the hospitals.
I thought she was that fucking gypsy and fucking thinner. Got ran over.
Papa, it is cold. I'll go get my coat.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. I haven't seen that movie or even thought about that movie in a long time. Jeez. Yeah, well, hey, at least they made it back safely, and it was all probably cost millions of dollars and billions of dollars or whatever, but hey, home safe, man, right?
Well, what was up with that light map that you were sending the NASA
I thought you shared
helicopter? What was that about?
You shared that video from X. But yeah, it shows.
I don't know what I'm looking at, so you guys explain it.
So there's a website that you can go to where it tracks all air traffic control that is supposed to be tracked, I guess. But it shows this plane flying, doing circles, doing loops around where NASA was dropping off or picking up the
Air
It
package.
literally loops around the helicopter when the helicopter's in the open
above
ocean.
it, most likely above it, right? Probably dropped them in.
And one of the
It could also
and one of
be
the conspiracies is that that's a thing that they just drop them off. They drop them off of like C-130s or whatever the big one is.
Yeah.
Whatever the transport one is.
I mean, technically, it could have been monitoring the
Well,
area for the drop. But you'd think if they were dropping in the atmosphere, you'd want to steer clear of that area. That's where it looks like they're routing. They're ensuring that all other, if you look, they're keeping all other traffic, air traffic away from that area. If you look off to the right side, you see all those other planes, Spirit, Delta, FedEx. Everybody's being kept away from this area, except for
This plane has no name on it.
Yeah.
Just the wing number.
Yep.
Hey,
Even the NASA plane, and they even show Air Force.
Gulf of America.
Air Force plane.
Says not available at flying at 17,000 feet.
Yeah, and you can see Air Force planes flying through too.
What was those videos looking like
Yeah,
AI?
there's an Air Force. That looks like a drone. Or no, that looks like a C-130 or something. But what's that, E-Rock?
Those videos, there was some going around that looked like AI, like computer animated.
I mean, you could probably easily animate this with AI or via any software, but no, there are websites that look like this that you can go to and check it out right now.
See where all planes are flying at,
Mm-hmm.
like their destination and shit.
And when they get too far, too far off the coast in the southern hemisphere, they disappear, then reappear somewhere else in the world hours later. But anyway, so yeah, that's wild. But I guess we should better hit on this real quick because E-Rock said something about the red heifers. Looks like Mel found an article here, godskingdomministries.org. This is March 17th, 2025 by Dr. Stephen E. Jones. Red heifer sacrifice canceled, ? Old Covenant Christians have long been enthusiastic about finding a red heifer that the Israelites can sacrifice on the Temple Mount to purify the nation and signal the start of the, quote, Great Tribulation, unquote, prior to the second coming of Christ. To this end, 5 red heifers were sent to Israel from Texas by an enthusiastic Old Covenant Christian rancher. The plan was to sacrifice one of these at the time of Passover in 2025. However, the heifers have since developed a few white hairs in their fur, which probably disqualifies them according to Jewish tradition. So, the planned sacrifice is now in doubt. Interesting. It looks like the Antichrist will have to wait, and the planned destruction of the Al-Aqsa Mosque will have to be postponed. The third temple, where they say the Antichrist will live for a few years, will have to be postponed. Disappointing all those Christians who have donated millions of dollars to build the Antichrist's house to give it to him free of charge. That's interesting.
You're trying to say that the Israelis would scam people?
I don't necessarily know if they're scamming people, but is there another, we got any other sources on that? Temple Institute Rabbi, I'm not sure any of the red heifers are qualified. Rabbi Azir, this is a cog writer by Israeli 365 News article. Rabbi Ariel, quote, at this moment we do not have a red heifer suited for the ceremony, unquote. March 7th, 2025. Rabbi Ariel, the head of the temple's Institute's Red Heifer project, recently gave a Hebrew language interview answering many of the questions concerning the project's recent developments. At this moment, we do not have in our possession in Israel a red heifer that is verifiably kosher and suited for the ceremony. About 2 years ago, 5 excellent red calves were brought to Israel. They had been checked and certified in America as perfectly red, but several months after they arrived, they began to grow white hairs. There is an ongoing discussion in the Temple Institute regarding their suitability about whether the proximity of the hairs to each other disqualifies the cows or not. The red heifer is an entirely red female cow with no more than one non-red hair on its entire body. In the language of the Bible, red is not exclusively what we know today as red. It also includes brown and other similar shades of red. This excludes black. All of the hairs on its body must be the same color. The animal must also be 2 years and 1 month old, and there can be no blemish, no holes in the ear, and may never have carried a burden. So I wonder if they got stressed out being shipped from Texas all the way across the freaking ocean.
Probably.
Yeah, because that happens. Animals get stressed out just like humans, and the same crap that happens to humans can happen to animals where they look or feel older than they are or whatever, right? They start growing gray hairs from stress.
You should have asked them to send you a bull, too. And you could have tried to make your own red heifers.
Well, yeah,
Some filet mignon.
We've talked about it before on our show. They had to use CRISPR technology to get these bulls or these heifers pure enough because they couldn't do it from just breeding. Like they'd have like a couple hairs here or there that were black that weren't good enough and stuff like that. So
they're trying to genetically modify a perfect calf, but then that counts.
And think that counts,
or
right?
A heifer.
Yep.
Yeah,
Dum.
Right. So there you have it. Around the world a little bit in less than an hour.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of stuff happening. Do you guys think NASA should be investigated by DOGE for wasteful spending?
Well, isn't Elon getting kickbacks too with SpaceX?
He is, so that's why he's probably not going to ever do it. But I definitely think they need to be investigated for that. And hey, maybe in his best interest, then maybe he can cut out some of his competition via DOGE, right? And then give himself, oh, you guys are working on this? Well, that's wasteful. And then, oh, hey, we got a solution for what you guys are working on there over at SpaceX.
It just so happens I own this company that has the perfect solution for you guys. Crazy.
Right.
And they can't even get past the Van Allen radiation belt, so.
Right. It's all for theater, my dear man.
Technology was lost, dude. Give him a break.
Yeah.
This is a statement made by NASA astronaut Don Pettit back in 2016.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
They had a really good weekend one time, and then they just lost that technology.
Come on, man.
What do you think they would lie to us about?
To the moon. If they could go back to the moon, he would do it in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
We just can't.
Yep. Like Bill Nye said, we're in a closed system.
Now, one thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth. There's no place to go. There's no place to throw your trash.
It's like all this garbage. If we were so smart and space was just an infinite mass of nowhere, why don't we just shoot our garbage into space instead of burying it?
Well, I saw a thing that said that if space was real, then why are all these rich people building bunkers?
Because they can't survive in space yet. Don't worry, Elon's going to get the mission to Mars. He's going to save us.
If all these people have all this fucking money, right, that they're like, okay, well, Earth's taking a shit. I want to get out of here. Oh, there's this billionaire that's talking about going to Mars. Like, maybe I should fucking back this dude. Give him all my money.
Yeah.
We'll really go to Mars.
Well, Mars is also a Roman god, right?
Right.
The Roman god of
sure
war.
All the planets are Roman gods, aren't they?
Yeah, the god of war and agriculture. So a mission to Mars, what if his actual mission means war, dude? What if Elon starts Third World War, man?
He's shooting for 2029 to send humans to Mars. So.
Yeah. Maybe that's when he's going to kick it off, and then in 2033, that's when the end's coming, man. 2029, they kick off World War III. 2030, build the third temple.
Did he just skip watching fucking Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Get your ass to Mars.
Yeah, having a colony on Mars is not a good idea, dude.
No, that's what he wants. He wants a little man in his stomach.
Open your mind.
So they have created an oxygen production generator.
What they need to do is get their asses working on terraform all the deserts in the world.
Well, he said that they need to be able to refuel in space. That's what's holding them back from doing long-term space flights, according to him.
Too bad
that they can't
use some type of solar technology and electric thrusters or something. I don't know. He built an electric car. Can't he build an electric space flight vehicle?
Who knows?
If it just floats around in space, all you need is some thrusters to just point you in the right direction and just push, right?
Yep.
You would think that why would you need to refuel up there if you are being shot shoot yourself out at a certain rate, you should be continuing to accelerate in a no gravity vacuum of space at that same rate until something stops you, right?
They say that you have to propel yourself halfway to the moon, and then the moon will do the rest of the work and pull you to it. Something like that.
Unless they have that anti-gravity propulsion system from the aliens.
Yeah, until they're able to build ships like, they've
already reverse engineered all that.
Starships.
Yeah,
like in Star Trek. They're never going to be able to do it. Well, and then there's the other one, what if Valnau radiation belt's just code word for the firmament? Like Werner von Braun says.
Werner von Braun. The Germans?
The German that worked for the Americans, that worked for NASA, helped found NASA.
Asia.
Yeah, pretty popular guy down in Huntsville, Alabama. But anyway, yeah, who knows what's happening? War. Huh. What is it good for?
What it is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Good God, you are.
Jackie Chan in Rush Hour.
War. Please do your spoken word war again.
What's that?
Your spoken word version of war. That's fucking hilarious.
But yeah, anyways, if you like the show, please like, follow, subscribe, share. Best way to support the show right now is sharing with your friends or family, whoever wants to listen. Also, leave a comment. Follow us on Instagram at Iowa Talk Guys _podcast.
At YouTube and Rumble at Iowa Talk Guys.
IowaTalkGuys.com and Iowa Talk Guys on X.
And always remember, don't eat the yellow cake.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Don't eat the yellow snow.
Don't put reporters on your text chains when you're talking about bombing countries.
Solid advice.
Not a good idea.
Iowa Talk Guys.
Out.
Hi, good night, everybody.
I ain't got a good grade.
Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys. Oh, durga.
It wasn't a space laser. It wasn't a murder hornet. It wasn't Sasquatch. It was a bullet.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You lose. Good day, sir. Here I am with you in Iowa, and I'd rather be here. I'd rather be here. So thank you very much. Very nice. Appreciate it.